got the book, got everything ready to review WWE Extreme Rules. And in honor of Roman Reigns, who is now my personal hero, I decided to take it upon myself to film it in my yard in order to honor his yard. Because as we all know, it's a hashtag big fight, hashtag his yard.
We're bringing the big fight review. That's what we're doing right now.
Bringing the big fight review to the yard. You can hashtag everything, in fact.
Hashtag everything, hashtag my yard. Share your yard on Twitter.
Can a yard be shared? Because, I mean, that's what the whole fucking feud for the last couple of
You can share a picture of your yard, but Roman will come out of the yard.
Yeah,
no,
share a picture of your yard on fucking social media and go hashtag my yard.
Hashtag Roman Reigns.
So here we are, in the yard, ready to talk of the most momentous of all the pay-per-views, WWE Extreme Rules. Now, I think that Extreme Rules is a little overblown these days, but
it's not as overblown as sort of Jesse's favourite, which is tables, ladders, chairs, and stairs.
Can't forget the stairs.
What's the point?
So we've got the list here to go through. We'll try and remember what we can. As usual, the network kind of fucking sucks. I'm going to put it gently. But
thank you. I mean, I would hate to hear it harshly.
Of course. So we're going to start with Kalisto going up against Apollo Crews.
So Lucha Things goes up against Titus O'Neil's son.
Exactly.
That's how they've been booking it, pretty much.
And you know what? I'm going to actually hand it to the fact that they both, for the time they were given, they didn't look terrible.
I caught the last minute.
And a bit of it, yeah. But I'm going to say that they did good. I mean, they did better than other places and other matches in the show, which is probably because I go in with no expectations and I go, hey, this is a pre-show match, so I expect nothing. So when I see Kalisto actually doing athletic things and then Apollo doing athletic things, I'm like, holy shit, these people actually are capable of doing anything.
So the part I saw was they were arguing, father and son were arguing.
Yep.
And then Kalisto did a very shitty run up the ropes.
Only from that angle.
Only from that angle. The other angle, which they should have used, was a lot better.
So, what can really be said about this match? Standard kind of pre-show match.
It really kicked. It was the
Mountain Dew kickstart? Yeah,
kickstart match.
So
name says it all.
Yeah. Will this go any further? I think they'll continue to do stuff with Apollo Crews. I actually like his Titus O'Neil kind of thing at the moment, where they're branded together. It's amusing and funny at least, which is a lot more than I can say for the other 3 hours of Raw. So, do something with it, and I'm glad that Kalisto, even though, you know, he's still Kalisto at the end of the day, at least he's having something done with him. What we had next is the card, and we start off with Dean Ambrose versus Miz.
Which was surprising. I thought that might have been a bit higher up the card, maybe like the third match in, but...
I honestly thought that the Noam Dar, the intergender tag match, is that what they call it? Mixed tag? Mixed tag, okay.
So, come on, man, just get with the times.
I'm sorry, you know me. I'm a little behind on these things. So when it
comes...
The
match that everyone forgot.
Yeah, the match I want to forget. So Dean Ambrose would go into the match, and I think WWE was well aware that the audience was going to kind of... they had the expectations that Miz was going to do some tricky shit, because it's like, oh man, the belt will change on a DQ. And surprisingly, we didn't get too much of that. I mean, obviously he did involve Maurice.
It was enough, though. It was enough, not without overdoing it.
Yeah, he got Maurice involved, and he asked her to slap him so that there would be a disqualification. The ref wasn't buying that, of course. So he then sent them away.
Get it!
And so the match ends with Miz pushing Dean into a ref, which causes the ref to be like, hey, what, are you trying to attack me and all that stuff? And he goes to ring the bell. Dean Ambrose is pleading with him, which causes the Miz to get the upper hand once he returns back to the ring, and Miz wins. And he didn't do it on the DQ stipulation, but that was, played with, yeah. So I thought that this was...
added flavour to the match.
I thought that this was a good match, and that both parties came out looking good. Dean Ambrose did his fucking flip thing when he hit the ref again, so that's amusing to people that look for it.
Got the crowd involved, which is what they wanted, which they had, let's go Dean, let's go Miz.
Yeah.
So...
how do you feel that Miz is getting those chants now?
It's just like, well, the last couple runs he's sort of proven himself. I kind of want him to maybe push him up the card a bit, but that won't happen. I mean, he's going to stay in the mid-card forever now.
That's just his fate, I'm afraid.
Same with Dean, pretty much, at this point, unless Shield gets back together.
So, I mean, I'm glad that, Dean Ambrose, even though he lost, I felt he didn't lose in a horrible fashion. And with The Miz winning, he's doing a great job as his whole current heel thing. And I think that Miz is, for better or worse, the quintessential Intercontinental Champion. Like, when you think IC Champ, Miz usually comes to mind these days. So I don't feel like anything was really lost here. I would say above average match.
Yes.
Which is more than I can say for the mixed tag match, which was next.
That was next. They pushed out Noam Dar first, which was just get out there. And then Rich Swann came out. Everyone's like, there was a massive pop for him.
Yeah, I was surprised.
So it's like, after hearing that it is his hometown, like, oh, fuck, he's going to lose. It's because the WWE curse. You go to your hometown, you lose. And
so they push everyone down into Roman's yard, and so once they get to Roman's yard, they start feuding with one another. I noticed that the crowd didn't... They were into this match, but more into, Rich Swann. Like, his popularity seems to almost be superseding some parts of Sasha Banks. Not completely, but, there seems to be a growing following for him, which is great that the Cruiserweights have actually managed to build somebody properly, because they're starting to get those likeable people now. I think that might be what they're trying to do with Noam Dar.
The real test is if he can go other places that's not his hometown.
True.
And get cheered.
Because it was Rich Swann's hometown of Baltimore. So, when it comes to the actual match itself, I'm going to say that most of it was forgettable, and I think that Sasha should have disqualified herself, because she attacked...
Yeah, well, that was disqualified.
Noam, yeah, and since it's like you can't attack a person of the opposite gender.
It was a flying knee off the top rope.
Yeah,
I can't remember what
she jumped and she...
just kneed him in the face. So,
and I was like, well, that's a disqualification.
Yeah.
But it didn't count.
Heaven's above if, Alicia Fox got hit by Rich Swann.
Yeah, can you imagine? But, so anyway, the match continued, and I was a little weirded by that. And
basically, pretty much all else that happened in that match was a lot of hugging from Alicia Fox and Noam Dar. That was it. It was just like, I don't want to go up against the other person. Hug.
Yeah.
And it was like, it was
kind of cringy. Well, maybe that's what they were going for. I'm not sure.
I mean, I think that's their gimmick. So I just don't care. So,
were you happy with the outcome of Sasha winning?
I was happy that Rich Swann got the pin.
Yes.
So, and his music played, and everyone was quite happy. So it was feel good. It was a nice sort of steady.
Broke
match.
the curse you were saying.
I know. So
of people losing in their hometowns.
It's like Charlotte has recently, Bayley has, and it's like usually everyone that goes to their hometown of like.
Was it St. Louis, where Randy just lost his title at Backlash?
Yes, I think so.
There you go.
No, it was wasn't it Detroit? No, it wasn't Detroit.
Chicago, maybe?
It was Chicago.
Okay.
Because they had
the NXT Chicago.
Show, yeah.
Okay. But yeah,
we got there.
We got there eventually, in the end. So many fucking events of wrestling, and especially that one weekend in particular. Now, if I look at what we've written down here, Elias Sampson, I don't know much about him. I know that they're doing the drifter thing with him, and...
we were joking because it's just like, he started playing his guitar. I mean, he was getting booed before that. He started playing his guitar, and you were saying, it's like, and he just starts doing Brock Lesnar's... And then he mentions a beast.
Yeah.
And I was like,
what the fuck? No.
Hold on.
But I'm surprised that, and it seems to be the case with most of Elias Sampson stuff. Maybe they're trying to get him. I know he had his first official match on the main roster the other day, but it seems like he's been up there for ages and he's doing nothing.
After WrestleMania, I think he came, and he's just been wandering around.
Yeah, just wandering around backstage, and even today he was just
drifter.
He just came on and he just did a singing promo to fill time, I guess.
I mean, we were joking that it was like he's just there. And he's like, I want to ask you something, and can anyone spare some change? I need the bus to get home.
Spare change. This ain't a good wrestling match. This is shit.
It wasn't even a match, it was a promo.
But yeah, weird waste of time. I mean, probably they're billing him as a heel, I guess, because he was, singing the whole obvious lyrics about this town sucks, everyone who lives here sucks.
It's us, boo!
Yeah, exactly. I don't know, waste of time. Do it on a fucking Raw. You got 3 hours to do that kind of shit.
To be honest, though, there's been a lot of things that we've been complaining about in the past where it's like, you could just go back to basics. They're literally going back to basics.
The ultimate basics with the, guy who comes into your town and says, you suck.
And I mean, it's working. So...
Yeah,
it got a reaction, though. That's the thing.
Look, maybe I'm wrong in this one. I might have to defer to your judgment because it's like, that might be... the best kind of heel thing that they can do for this guy. I'm not sure what else they could do without getting many people to like him. So by not having him wrestle as much, which means even the wrestling fans will be like, well, what the fuck does this do except he takes up time? The idea that someone taking up time on a show these days constitutes a heel, but you know, that's where we are. You're going to have to do a little bit of explaining.
It's like, well, it's basic booking, and it's their plan to see if it works. It's just like not much more. It's people who watched him in NXT hated him because he's basically doing the exact same thing from there. I'm just waiting for someone to get his guitar and smash it over his head, and that will get a good pop.
That's going to happen sometime. Yeah. Or he's going to do that to somebody. That's the only reason they have those guitars in any of the things. Classic Honky Tonk Man
coming out and just be like, "Fuck you," smashes the guitar over.
Well, next we had a match which was billed horribly with the whole "This Is Your Life" segment, which was taken down off social media.
Holy shit!
But I would just like to dedicate some time.
I was trying, as I've been. Well, you keep saying every time, sell me
Alexa Bliss,
and
right?
now I'm like, I can't keep doing it.
Well, I know I've been there before. I mean, I've seen potential in people, and I'm like trying to get you guys into the hype, and it just fizzles out. But when it comes to the Bayley versus Alexa Bliss match, it was for the WWE Raw Women's Championship.
You didn't mention it until right pretty much at the start, and the graphic came up. Stuart was like, "No, it's not. It's not." I'm like, I reckon it is,
because the whole fucking thing is just like, how extreme will she go? Will Bayley go to the extreme? I'm like, okay, well they're trying to build Bayley up, and
could she fight a tornado?
She could dry up a sea. Or she could dry up a crowd because I mean, fucking people just leaving to go get drinks. It was. I
mean, to be honest, unfortunately, it was almost again. It's not as bad, but it's very deeper.
I tell you what, if fucking Noam Dar wasn't on this card, then this would be my least favorite match.
Yeah, I can easily understand that.
So Alexa Bliss, and the whole gimmick for this match was to make it extreme, because they're trying to extremify the whole pay-per-view. But anyway, so we have a kendo stick on a pole match. Now, for those of you that aren't familiar with late 80s, early 90s kind of wrestling, you just put something on a pole, like a coal miner's glove, or the big boss man's nightstick. And whoever gets to go up to that pole and gets it gets the advantage because they get to use that weapon first against their opponent. Now, provided that the opponent either gets it off the person or they can sustain and survive this beating that will come their way, then anyone can use it. It's anyone's game. Now, before we get into this, I would like to mention that this fucking match went, I looked it up, 5 minutes and 10 seconds.
Yeah, it was... I mean, they had one point where it was like...
Okay, so... I'm just going to bring it up. Considering that half of the match was getting up to the pole itself, I mean, this match could almost match time for time that Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar match at WrestleMania.
I mean,
have you considered that? Yeah, well, yeah.
It went longer. That match went longer, and it was a better match.
And what?
It was a better match.
Okay, I've got what I want. So Ryan, tell me why I should care about this match.
The only positives that could come out of this match is look how dominant Alexa Bliss is. She destroyed Bayley.
Yes, she did.
I mean, they even kind of did the whole. She tries to reach him because she's 5 foot. She's like, "Oh, I can't quite reach it."
And I'm so little.
Yeah, and it's just like, but Bayley gets it, and then they run around the ring, and then Alexa gets it off her.
So this whole...
That's it. That's the match.
And this might be... I might be looking at this in the wrong way. This whole feud, ever since Bayley lost it, has been the bully teasing the nerd, essentially.
Which is done terribly. They could have done this so much better.
What they were trying to do with this is because not only is Bayley's popularity waning, but Alexa is meant to be like pushed Bayley to the point where it's like, it proves to people that Bayley is able to go above and beyond. She is credible as a wrestler. She's not just a nice person. She is able to go in there and prove that she belongs there, and she belongs to be women's champion. Now, this whole match was, and this whole fucking build was, you're not extreme enough. You can't deal with this shit. You're not ready for this. And this fucking match goes to prove you weren't. I'm like, well, what's the payoff for fucking Bayley here? Like, I get it that,
The only payoff I think for Bayley is she'll come out on Raw and be like, oh, I'm injured, I'm going to have to go away, those shots fractured my ribs or some shit like that.
Yeah, but if you talk, and this might just be my personal opinion, if you took a whole bunch of game and you're like, I'm going to fucking get into the ring with someone, let's say that you're just some random off the street and you're like, yeah man, I could fucking fight Brock Lesnar in an MMA fight. I'm the best fucking MMA fighter. Put me in a ring with any MMA fighter and I'll win. And then you get in there and you lose. You don't get the fucking pity party award of like, oh well, you tried. It's like, well, CM Punk. You don't get like your fucking, oh well, at least you went in there and tried to do it. Not from me personally. I'm like, you went into something that you thought you could win and you weren't prepared. You had your ass handed to you promptly. This is what you deserved because you thought you were better than you were. So for me personally, and I'm not sure if anyone out there shares a similar view, all this did was Bayley was like, man, I'm so ready to take things to the extreme. I'm an extreme hardcore wrestler. Gets in the ring 5 minutes later. I can't do it.
What was it? She's like, oh, I've been watching Tommy Dreamer and
Steve Blackman.
Yeah, who's Dr.
Sandman.
Death.
She mentioned.
Yeah, she mentioned Sandman. So I'm a bit disappointed she didn't come out with a beer can and just smash it against her head.
Oh, but then she would have fucking started crying and then lost because she can't take that kind of thing. Yeah.
Without the crime.
I was honestly surprised at how fucking fast. And, yeah, I was like, I was going to say how fucked up this, but how fucking fast this match was. It was like, I blinked and it was over almost, and I was like, she gave up after that. Don't get me wrong, there was a kendo stick, a couple of kendo sticks to the back, and a kendo stick to the head. But this...
that DDT, though, was fucking brutal, because it wasn't done safely. It was... She hit the back of the head.
It looked awkward, to be sure.
Yeah.
And that was how she eventually won and retained her...
Twice now.
Yeah.
Two DDTs winning fucking championships.
So... I think that
it?
someone else should get a chance at the title. I don't know who it is now, but
I think it will be Nia Jax. I think they've been building her up. Because who else? You got Sasha Banks, Nia Jax.
No. They need fucking fresh blood in that fucking division, and hopefully that tournament coming up will provide some of that. But I mean,
well, the only other person I would say, and she's not on Raw or SmackDown, is Asuka. But once they bring her up, it's like, who's going to compete with her? Because she'll just run through everyone.
Well, you might have noticed the other day, but Asuka actually has the longest streak in professional wrestling now.
Longer than Goldberg's.
Yep. And it's like, wow, I like Asuka. She works really well, and I couldn't think of a more deserving person to get that kind of thing, and it wasn't just handed to her either.
Well, it's fucking, once again, that's the women's wrestling right there. If you want to go and watch it.
Yeah, watch fucking Ember Moon and Asuka if you want to see some women's wrestling. But anyway, moving on from that pile of shit, which are just disappointing, we had Sheamus and Cesaro versus the Hardy Boys. You can do it, Ryan. You're laughing. Tell the people why you're laughing.
It was a long-running joke that we, the whole do Sheamus and Cesaro. It was like the whole, they come out and it would be like, Sheamus says his part, and then Cesaro says Sheamus as well, so it's Sheamus and Sheamus. So we'll just piss themselves laughing at that through the entrance.
So it's it's Sheamus and Sheamus. It's like,
no,
dude,
that's my name.
What the fuck's your name, man? But anyway, so we got the steel cage, and they had to keep fucking explaining to people that, hey, once both people are out,
because, as they said, it was only the fourth time in 15 years that they had this type of match.
And so when we got this match, I was pretty excited, because I'm like, not only do I really like the Hardy Boys, but Sheamus and Cesaro, they've got something here. Like, it's a fun to watch team, and they can still do all the heel stuff, and every time I see them work a match, I know it's at least going to be a solid match.
Yes.
Now, obviously, age is starting to affect what the Hardy Boys can and can't do extreme-wise, but I think that they still got a really good match here.
There's a lot of nice little spots, like the one where It was the sort of the double missile drop kicks to the side when they were both against the cage.
Was it that he said, go now?
Yeah, he was like, go now!
Yeah.
It was like, everyone was like, oh, it's sick, and there was the whole... Well, the crowd was really in it. The crowd was the most into this and another match later on. So, but yeah, it was like little spots like they were using the cage, selling the cage, which was the most important part about this fucking match. So it's like Matt was...
How would Roman feel that his yard was caged and he couldn't get into it?
Oh, well, we'll get to that later, because he's just like... He took a sigh of relief at the end of the match when the cage got raised.
Yeah, it must.
So,
I mean, everyone was in his yard the whole night, so...
He must have been really anxious, just pacing.
People pay him rent. But anyway, getting back into the Cesaro versus the Hardys, I thought that this was really fun, and the crowd was really into it as well, which always helps any match, in my opinion. But once you see, like, they start climbing up and whatnot, and then what was that one thing that Cesaro did where he was like using his bicep to stop Jeff from falling?
He was holding it like that was really cool. Like at the very start where Cesaro just runs, like kind of springboards off the top and just
tries to get out immediately.
Basically almost gets over, and it's like, wow, that was really cool.
I was surprised that they brought back the old sort of cage where you can just walk out as well, but obviously
that
for the ending,
just opens the door. Okay, no,
is it now? But we had a lot of cool things. A lot of Jeff. We knew that as soon as this match was announced that Jeff was going to do something from the top of the cage, and he did.
Yes.
And every time, as we always, every time he does it, I'm like, is this the time that it goes wrong?
What is the whisper in the wind?
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like a lot of little cool spots, like Matt Hardy stopping both Sheamus and Cesaro. Like they were trying to get out of just the door, and he's grabbing their leg. So the other one would come over and just kick the shit out of him, and then they'd kind of swap, and the other one would go out, and he just grabs the other one's leg.
So I was pleased with how this ended. How it was like both teams were slowly making their way out. So Matt was trying to drag Jeff to the door and slowly get him out, and then
Jeff was just out.
Yeah, Sheamus and Cesaro, or Sheamus and Sheamus, were over the edge, and they were climbing down the cage, and then Jeff almost pulled out. Sorry, Matt Hardy almost pulled out Jeff onto the floor.
But his feet were still in the
ring.
Roman's yard.
In Roman's yard, exactly. In Roman's yard. My mistake. I almost called it... I did call it a ring. I'll be fired. So...
Again.
I keep coming back somehow. At the end of it, you see Cesaro and Sheamus. They're like, oh shit, we're going to have to do this drop, otherwise they're going to win. So they drop off. And we have our new Raw Tag Team Champions. And
to be honest, I'm quite fine with that. I think the Hardys were the injection that the tag teams needed to make people give a damn. They built these guys up to be a little... Because the club was nothing. They've done nothing with the club.
Enzo the club even still fucking there?
Yeah.
Well, that goes to show.
They're there. Someone attacked Enzo.
When we need a pre-show match, we'll call on you guys.
Yeah, pretty much. Or you want to have... you remember the Bullet Club? You know the Bullet Club? Oh.
The club? Is that what you're talking about?
But yeah, it's like...
Any thoughts on the Revival, maybe? Going up against Sheamus and Cesaro?
Well, once, what was it?
Once Dawson, his jaw heals.
Yeah. I reckon that would be good, but it also builds, for the meantime, I think, basically Enzo and Cass could go up against, because it would be, classic face and heel kind of stuff. That's to see if we find out who attacked Enzo. I don't know. It hopefully doesn't turn into... Will Big Show survive the rooftop sort of scenario? But
I don't think it would be that awful, do you?
Well, we might get an answer. That's what I'm hoping for.
Hopefully.
Or maybe Eric Bischoff will not tell us again. But it's just like, it's what the tag team needed. Yeah, overall, it's got people talking about tag team now. It'd be interesting to see how they go. I know that they still haven't got the license for the broken gimmick. So
yeah, where do the Hardys go from here?
It's just like...
Do they re-challenge? And if they do re-challenge, I'd assume they'd lose.
Mm-hmm. And then, I don't know, maybe you could be like, oh, Matt's gone insane, or he's fractured, his mind's fractured or some shit, and maybe, because I know they want to do another draft, because they had the Superstar Shake-Up.
Right.
But, because they've always billed Jeff as the big deal out of the two. So, if Jeff goes to, like, SmackDown, and he can still keep doing his extreme stuff.
You could have AJ versus Jeff.
Which
I
would
mean,
be
it's
sick.
happened in TNA, but I mean, like, this audience doesn't know that exists.
Yeah,
Um,
got the tapes.
I was incredibly surprised with the fact that they gave the Cruiserweight title this level of prominence on the card.
Excellent. Yeah, it's good to see, because it's like everyone's like, or WWE's like, oh, we'll give him 5 minutes, and everyone's like, I don't give a shit, and they're like, why isn't anyone giving a shit? So it's like they answer their own questions that they've been asking.
And a lot of people will suggest that because it took place just before the main event and after the cage match, it was sort of come down match, go and get your stuff. I disagree. I think that Austin Aries and Neville are like some of the best workers that they have out there. I wasn't a big fan of how they decided to go about the finish of this match, but we'll get there. So we had Austin Aries challenging King Neville, King of
Are
the
you on Neville's
Cruiserweights. No one's on the Neville level, man. But I was really hoping for Austin Aries
To get on the Neville level.
I was hoping he would get on the Neville level,
Third time's the charm.
but instead he's sticking with Bananarama, I guess. So
Got
Austin,
Sorry.
so Austin Aries goes into this match, and because of the storyline, they've decided to have a submission match where you can only win by submission in the ring.
That's important.
That's important. Even though I'm not sure if that was specified, but
I don't think so.
I was thinking because it was Extreme Rules that they could have submitted anywhere. That's just me. Could be wrong. So we have this match that goes on. We get a pretty good match. We get. There was one thing that I wasn't too fussed about, but once they showed a different angle, it seems to be the thing with cruiserweights. They do a lot of really flashy, fast moves, but if you get the wrong camera angle, it looks like shit.
Yeah.
There was a lot of moves here that. Okay, so I'm just going to jump to my main gripe, because the thing that holds me back from loving this match is that once they finally do go outside, and Austin Aries,
Which was Neville, he was being submitted, he pulls, uses all of his strength to pull Austin Aries outside the ring.
outside Roman's yard.
Outside Roman's yard.
Yep.
Onto the floor, and then he taps, and the ref's like, you gotta get in the ring.
You got to have him tap in the ring. Now, obviously this is classic heel stuff, but I think the thing that made me annoyed was this wasn't specified, and the fact that at the minute that happened, I knew. I was like, okay, well, Austin's not going to win this match, because they're going to be like, well, he won this match. They can't do this for a fourth time in a row.
No.
Now, when I say the first time he raked and stuck the thumb in his eye, and then the second time, I forget how it was, but it was a disqualification win that he managed to retain his title. And now this third time, it's just like, oh, he tapped out outside the ring, but it wasn't in the ring. They can't extend this feud anymore because it's lost the life of the feud. And if they just go, hey, Austin Aries, we're giving you another title shot, even I would just be like, okay, when does this fucking ride end?
I personally think that he should go after T.J. Perkins, like if they have tomorrow night on Raw. Basically, it's like Neville will be there, and you have T.J. Perkins there, all backstage. Austin Aries comes out, and he's like, well, I beat you though. And then T.J. Perkins comes out and tries, to attack Austin Aries, and then set up that feud out of that.
And it's a shame that the cruiserweights almost seem to be...
Four dudes.
Well, not only that, but they never interact with anyone else on the cast. With the exception
What are you talking about? Alicia Fox.
I was going to say with the exception of but it just seems like they're off in their own world, pretty much.
She's pretty much like a secondary cruiserweight belt.
Like, I would love to have some sort of conflict where Neville's just like, the IC championship is shit compared to my championship. And then, they would have a match against that. Or, like, build a champion versus champion. You don't even have to unify the belt, although you might, considering the ratings. It's just like, have something to inject a bit of life so that they don't seem like they're, like, the stepchild of the family, where it's just like, oh, they're here. Because they're there interacting on the same show as the rest of the Raw people are. But then they get their own show as well, and they don't interact with anyone else there. And even the UK people... in the UK tournament, in the UK division, they interact with people on NXT, and they've got their own division too, but it's like, if you put them in with other people, they usually don't sink, they swim. And then people start saying, oh yeah, but like, Austin Aries was able to work with Seth Rollins, and so that adds a level of credibility to him. But now it's just like, oh yeah, but Austin Aries, he was an announcer that lost
He has bananas
3 times and has bananas, and that's his gimmick, I guess. And you know what? Whatever you need to do to get over, that's fine. But I've seen Austin Aries in other places, and I know what he's capable of, and this is like
a waste of talent.
And it ultimately, it's a waste of time, because it's like, if this feud continues to go, I'm like, it's not entertaining anymore. In fact, I would be hesitant to say that I was only finding this match going to be entertaining because I was like, okay, finally we'll get the payoff at the end of this. And it's just same shit, different day, in the fact that there was another circumstance in which he didn't win. Because
Again, it was pretty much almost, as everyone always complains about, the 50-50 booking in WWE. So it's like, oh, you can have a win, and you can have a win. And it's like, well, no one cares.
And it's not even that with Austin Aries. It's just like, oh, you can lose 3 times, but we'll put circumstances to why you lost every time. So everyone's like, but he could win. And it's just like, they never give him that that final payoff of like, he overcame everything. Now, there was that one thing that I think you wanted to talk about in regards to the crowd's reaction.
Which really pissed me off. It's, so, for a lot of the match, Austin was selling his right leg, I believe. Like his right knee, because he's like, oh, he injured it. And anyway, he was getting, was it the Rings of Saturn?
Yeah.
And Neville powered up by the Rings of Saturn.
Yeah, apparently. That's his submission for the people that were just wondering.
So Austin was in the middle of the ring. He's trying to crawl. He had to use his bad leg, so he keeps touching his knee and that. Anyway, he's crawling. He couldn't quite get there because, and it was building up. He's like, the struggle was real.
And he was reaching out with his foot. He's like, I just got to get to that rope and they can break this.
Mm-hmm. And it's like he had to keep moving. Anyway, because it didn't take 3 seconds, the fucking crowd started booing him. So I'm just like, fuck you.
Why do you think they did that? Why do you think they made that boo? Like, is there anything in that WWE would have promoted that this is bad behaviour? Or is there
it's because of like shit like, oh, let's kick out of every fucking finish ever, and let's do that kind of shit.
Because for you and I, that's like storytelling, and you see like he's trying to make it to the edge, but I guess people were just like,
it's like
they're so used to everything being instantaneous.
Yeah,
like
when you have people like Cena who is just like, oh, okay, I'm gonna. It's like, for example, it'd be like, oh, pop-up powerbomb, and he just goes and just touches the rope just straight away. It's like, great. On the count of 2.5, it's like, it's people's patience are just, they expect that kind of shit now.
It's
everyone.
It's disappointing. The match was good. Obviously, it had a couple of these things that brought everything down, and definitely that finish that I mentioned. So Austin Aries, he gets submitted in the ring by
leading up
Neville.
before that, I thought that looking at it from the camera angle at the front, it looked
Is he
crap.
King Neville or is he actually Neville? Because his Titantron says King Neville and he refers to himself as King Neville, but there's no branding of that and no one calls him King Neville.
I
Just
think
his
it's
heel
like,
thing?
Yeah, Neville, King of the Cruiserweights. Sort of thing.
Okay.
But yeah, it's like I thought Austin Aries hit his bad knee on the ropes, but no, from the other angle, it looked a lot better. But because you see,
That's exactly what I was talking about. Yeah.
You don't quite see Neville roll out of the way, where the other one's just like, where the 450 splash, I think it was that Neville did.
Yes. Yep.
Basically, even though you could see Austin Aries, he's like, oh shit, and he makes an attempt, and he gets the knees right in the kidneys.
Yeah.
Looked really good.
And it sounded great, that impact as well. Even the crowd was like, oh, like that. You get that immediate reaction from the crowd, which also helps when he does the pin, or not the pin, the submission. And it was like, it was a good match. I just, I wasn't a fan of how everything played out.
It's better than 2 matches on this card.
Exactly. And
probably up there with, I reckon, maybe just better than the IC title match, I think.
yeah, I'd be happy to say that. I'd feel comfortable with that. But move those fucking people out of the way. Because now is the one that I was waiting for. Finally, my boy, Roman Reigns, fucking greatest wrestler of all time, bar none. I mean, watch his performance tonight if you have any doubts. So he finally comes down to reclaim his yard. Now, obviously,
there's 4 other people.
There's other people in this, but who gives a fuck about these people? They're just, they're trespassing in his yard. So I've got the list of who came out in what order. I'm not exactly sure, but
Bray came out first.
Bray, Seth, Samoa Joe, Finn Balor, the
leprechaun demon,
the leprechaun demon, and Roman Reigns. So I think that's the order.
Yeah, correct.
With Mr. Finn Balor, he doesn't seem as over it as he used to be.
No, to be honest, the entire match, it's like Bray did, even though he was more active, he had the least impact in the entire thing. It was Samoa Joe doing everything for him because they teamed up. They formed a deadly alliance.
So, this match started amazingly because, okay, so I've been talking a lot of props to someone bringing the big fight, hashtag big fight, in his yard, hashtag my yard. Roman got to stand there in the ring and
He's just walking
around, and he got the most heat out of everybody, and he got the biggest reaction, and he wasn't fucking doing anything.
I kind of said this to him, like, he just needs to stand there and just lift his arm up and just, or even at one point he was like leaning in the turnbuckle and it's just like, he should have just been blowing kisses. It would have just been hilarious because he would have got more fucking heat.
Now, Ryan, obviously I'm putting a bit of a spin on this, but we were enjoying watching Roman just destroy everyone because we've gotten to that point, I feel personally, that it's almost comical to the level of which he does things.
We've gone past the point of anger, and we've got anger's focus elsewhere. That's on SmackDown.
Yeah.
So we basically let go of all emotions. So it's pretty much, yeah. And it's not, I'm going to tie Ric Flair's record by doing nothing. I'm not going to try and beat. He's just doing there. It's just, oh, here comes Finn Balor. Oh, sorry, here comes Bray. Smile and drop. Oh, here comes Samoa Joe. What are you going to do with him?
Are you going to drop that Samoan somehow? How would you do that?
Shit, he dropped him in his yard.
Oh, man, his Samoan dropped the Samoan in his yard. Man,
Mind blown.
that's... Fuck.
And then Finn.
I wonder if he thought about that before. Man, crazy.
And then Finn Balor.
Finn Balor, yeah.
He got Samoa dropped as well. Yeah, it was like... It was a nice little thing. It's like he tried to do the drive-by. What did we count? 4 moves he did?
4 moves.
So he did Samoa drop, drive-by...
One-armed power bomb, and then a big boot.
And then a big boot. So he did 4 moves. So he's a Pokemon at the moment.
Yeah. What can I really say? Because obviously there's a lot to talk about because there's so many people involved in the match. Okay, I guess we'll just take it on a one-by-one thing.
We'll start with Finn. Finn got his ass handed to him pretty much. He had one good spot where he flipped over the rope and knocked out everyone. But as I said, everyone fucking does that these days. So it was the stock standard shit. It was... because I said to Stuart coming into this match, it would either be Samoa Joe or Finn Balor to actually take on Brock Lesnar, because that's the one that I can see.
I was going for my boy Roman. I mean, get those fucking squatters out of your yard. I mean, I believe you. I believe in the big fight. Big dog, come into the big yard.
As I was saying to Stuart, I'm like, I kind of want him for like a future event. Just come out walking dogs and just be like, get some mic. This is my yard, and then drops it, and that's it.
I mean, it's with Finn Balor. I was watching this, and aside from thinking that he sounded like an angry leprechaun when he was yelling and attacking, obviously he worked solidly. I can't take that away from him.
He took good bumps. That's the best part about this match for him.
And I don't think he's hurt too badly, because you see that not only with him almost winning at the end, but so it's not going to be Finn, but he gets attacked by Samoa Joe and Bray Wyatt. So it's like
he got put in the sleeper hold. That I forgot
the Coquina clutch.
Yes, thanks, Taz.
You got it, man. But so Samoa Joe does win this match, as Ryan was saying, with the Coquina clutch.
The drive-by spot was really nice. So it's like when he went to hit Bray, Samoa Joe just clotheslined him, and it's like they formed, as we said, a good partnership. And it's just like
the ending of that partnership comes with because Bray went to go and pin and win the match, and since it's whoever out of these 5 people gets the first pin, you win the match and you get to go fight Brock Lesnar,
the #1 contender for the Universal Championship.
Yeah.
So Samoa Joe's like, "What the fuck, man? I've been helping you out." So it's like they had a nice couple, like because Bray got a chair, and they were doing like senton bombs pretty much onto Finn Balor. And I think it was just Finn at that time, by memory.
I think so. But here's the thing. Moving on from Finn to Seth. What did fucking Seth do this match? Like I'm
Not really much, man. He was just there to sort of break up stuff, and he was a bit lackluster. But as I said, still did more than Bray.
Yeah, but I feel like at least Bray had a presence in this match. Seth was there, but I can't remember him doing anything.
He had that
feels like
moment
he's
with
lost
Roman.
in the like. Yeah, don't get me wrong. That's a good point. Roman got and Seth together, as with most of the Shield, whenever they reunite, even if it's just for a couple of seconds, the crowd goes fucking crazy, and it's like that shows that the Shield will always be there.
That stuff was crisp because it's like Roman Irish whips him to the rope, goes for the clothesline. Seth ducks. That was done really well, and just trying to think of the it was the Falcon Arrow.
Yeah.
The Falcon Arrow, it was done really well, like the counter for that into the Falcon Arrow. So that's what was. But most of his time,
unironically, liked Roman and Seth working together.
It was done well, and you can see
these guys are experienced at working this.
Yeah. The rest of his time though for the match was taken up by Samoa Joe. So whenever he was about fighting anyone, he was against Samoa Joe, and then Bray would come in and just beat the shit out of him. And so it's like they had the spot that really shitty DDT that fucking Bray did, which was
yeah, against the fucking steel steps. It looked because he does the Jake the Snake call for the DDT, and it was one of the weakest looking fucking DDTs I've ever seen.
Well, Alexa Bliss does better DDTs than Bray Wyatt.
Yes, she did. And, I mean, it looked awful, but it felt like it had more of an impact than just...
And you hear the sound...
Yeah.
It was not much. It was... yeah, so that's pretty much all that Seth did. He did the
table spot, didn't he? Was it him that did the body slam onto the table? The Spanish announcing table?
I don't know, because the fucking network cut out. And then everyone was just everywhere, and then Roman teleported.
Well, that's, his stand. My yard.
My yard, that's right.
So, Roman's stand, for those that are wondering, is that the more people hate him, the more powerful he gets. And if you think that he's going to win, he'll lose, but if you think he'll lose, he's going to win.
He's literally told everyone his weakness. He says, believe that.
Yeah.
And if people believed in that, then he would lose.
But, I mean, that's how amazing the writing is for Roman Reigns. Like, people aren't even on that level yet.
It's fucking... They had to incorporate JoJo's into the writing. It's next level, man.
This is just... We're living in the real golden era of wrestling right now. So, ultimately, Roman doesn't win, which was a surprise to me. And we get Samoa Joe going on to verse Brock Lesnar.
I can't remember who he pinned. I'm trying to think about who he pinned.
He
made him tap, made Finn tap. That's why I can't
Finn, he didn't tap. He was
he got knocked out.
Knocked out.
Yeah,
because they don't want him to tap because making someone that you're supposed to build strong tap is fucking stupid. Refer to last pay-per-views that I've mentioned this, but it's I don't know. It's gonna be good to see Samoa Joe versus Brock Lesnar.
Everyone's like, why isn't this match for SummerSlam, though?
Yeah, or like, maybe it's going to be the rematch at SummerSlam, or maybe it's going to be a fatal, the three-way dance.
With Braun, you reckon? You reckon Braun will be back by then?
I would say it was going to be like Finn and Samoa Joe up against like Brock, but I'm honestly surprised. If it wasn't going to be Roman, I was like, okay, I'm assuming Finn. Not Samoa Joe. What made you think that maybe Samoa Joe would take it?
I'm like, it'd be... A lot of people wanted this. There was earmarked that it could be something maybe for WrestleMania. I heard whispers, backstage sources.
Backstage sources.
But it's... it would be two powerhouses going for it. I mean, Samoa Joe's a bit more athletic than Braun Strowman, so it'd be quite interesting, because these two have never faced either. So... Right. I don't remember any paper. Yeah, I don't think they have.
They haven't.
Yeah, so first time, and WWE loves to say, first ever. So
yeah, it's the first ever fatal 5-way at an Extreme Rules. I mean, that's the kind of level that they'll go to say first. We did it first. What do you think the ultimate fallout of this event's going to be?
So the way I see it is, because they were kind of booking it beforehand, is. So it's who's going to outspook each other with Finn Balor and
Bray Wyatt.
Bray Wyatt. So because Bray keeps going oogity boogity boo,
Yeah, he does.
and yeah, you can't stop him. He does that. And yeah, so be like, you are a demon king. But I am the eater of worlds. Oogity boogity boo, and that's it. And then spooky, scary skeletons.
What about my saviour, Roman Reigns?
I don't think he'll be going on with Seth. I think they actually might team up and maybe they could challenge for the tag belts. Roman could be going. I'm just trying to think who would you put? Would you put Miz up against Roman?
Miz against Roman?
Yeah.
No, I don't see that. Like, Roman would need to add, like, an IC title to him, I suppose, at some stage, but I don't see it now. He's got too much heat behind him. You could use that for so many things.
Well, it's like, yeah, it's like, and Seth, I don't know where he will be going with after this. Like, maybe he could be in the IC title match. I don't know, maybe Seth versus Dean.
Is there any possibility for some form of Shield reformation? Since we can't figure out like a program for these guys, is there like a chance that the Shield would reform even for a bit?